of Scripture and hymns. The Lord has given us another day to serve Him, and so now we have the opportunity to learn from Scripture so we can serve Him more effectively. As we look at the Scripture ahead of us, there's definitely some tension within the passages that we are reflecting upon this morning. You're looking at a message that's based in Psalm 82, and then several different passages in the Gospels which really draw out elements of Christ's teaching. As you're reading through Christ's teaching, you have to recognize there is great tension. The Pharisees and religious leaders just can't bear to accept that there's someone that has an extraordinary authority in their midst, who is working, who is teaching, who has a following, and all that comes with that competition is something that they just won't settle with. And so as you're looking through these passages, I do see that there's a strong connection from Psalm 82 to where we were in the Gospels this morning. As you're reading Psalm 82, you might say, there's some interesting words here. What does this mean? But it really just puts the finger on the fact that there are those who are in authority who have been given that authority by God, but because of that gift of authority, they are held accountable to lead effectively. And so Psalm 82 points the finger at the failure of those leaders. Wherever they may be in society, or even on the grand scale of the global element of leadership, we understand that these individuals were given wisdom, provided wisdom by God to use in order to subdue and reign and to rule with great wisdom. Or they could use their own wisdom, and therefore by their own wisdom they can rule that in a way that benefits them. And so the judgment in Psalm 82 is, you failed as leaders, as judges. You have failed as the powerful in this world because you have favored the wicked for your own advantage, and you have rejected properly caring for the poor and destitute among you because there was no advantage to you to do so. And so you have failed, and God's going to bring about judgment. He's going to break down these leaders in Psalm 82. And he really gives us some interesting pictures as he describes it as the whole world, the foundations of the world are out of order. Do you not see that today? I mean, when you look at the fact that the big buzz for Netflix has been this show called Cuties, you look at the awards that Hollywood gives to themselves for television shows that are just absolutely raunchy with a material that you would say, could it get any worse? You look at the material that they are celebrating, and you look at what they want to elevate. Hey, entertainment, Hollywood, they are given a platform and they are using it in a way that's truly wicked. And all the foundations of the world are out of order because of their rejection of the wisdom of God, and them only favoring the wicked because of the apparent advantage to them. In the end, they will find their comeuppance. They will be brought low because they have rejected the authority and wisdom of God. Well, when you come to Matthew 12, Mark 3, and Luke 6, you see that the religious leaders also had a responsibility, and they failed in that responsibility. They are just totally, scandalized by the fact that Jesus would allow his disciples who are hungry to take some kernels and eat them along the way on Sabbath. They just can't believe that Jesus would heal a poor destitute man on the Sabbath. And Jesus tries to instruct them, tries to give them wisdom, but they reject it. And they even demand Christ to subject himself to their inspection. That's why they say, give us a sign. It's not because they wanted to believe. No, they wanted to force Jesus to be subjected to their authority by him giving them a sign so that they could bless him and say, okay, well, maybe you are sent from God. Maybe we should condone your message. Jesus says, I'm not playing this game. You've been given authority and you've failed. In some of the verses that stand out in Matthew 12, Jesus says, for the tree is known by his fruit. Out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things, And an evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. But I say unto you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by the words, or by thy words, thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Jesus is really putting the responsibility on the people to respond to the wisdom that's offered to them by God. And the question this morning is, we want to make sure that we respond to that wisdom correctly. The hymn this morning is written by John Milton, a premier poet who has written much material way back in the early days of England, and all, with all that that was coming on in that time frame of poems and reflections on Scripture, and great material there. When you're reading through this poem, though, it is a reminder to us that God is on the throne. God will judge. And while we may be quick to point the finger and say, God, judge those who are so wicked and wrong, realize that we stand before the judging eye of God as well. And we want to make sure that we appreciate the wisdom that God has offered to us in His Word, and that the good treasures of our heart are bringing forth great things. And by our fruit, people will know that we love God with all our heart and that we desire to please Him. So the hymn this morning is entitled, Arise, O God, Judge the Earth, written by John Milton. God in the great assembly stands of kings and lordly states. Among the gods on both His hands He judges and debates. How long will ye pervert the right with judgment false and wrong, favoring the wicked by your might? Who thence grow bold and strong? Regard the weak and fatherless, dispatch the poor man's cause, and raise the man in deep distress by just and equal laws. Defend the poor and desolate, and rescue from the hands, and raise the man in deep distress by just and equal laws. They know not, nor will understand, in darkness they walk on. The earth's foundations all are moved, and out of order gone. I said that ye were gods, yea, all the sons of God Most High, but ye shall die like men and fall as other princes die. Rise, God, judge thou the earth in might, this wicked earth redress, for thou art he who shalt be right, the nations all possess. When you look at this, you recognize God is looking for people that live out the wisdom He's provided. And I want to encourage you this morning. It talks about that we are in ministry, reaching to the fatherless, the widows, the destitute. James puts his finger right on that with the early church, and he says, are we truly following true religion? If we aren't ministering to those poor and destitute and fatherless and widow, all of those people that truly need to know the love of Christ, then we're failing as well. Are you willing to receive the wisdom that God has given? Are you going to be active to do what is necessary for those that need to feel that compassion and the loving hand of God? That's our reflection on him this morning. In the notes, you'll see a link that will take you to one of the devotionals written by a man in our church, Aaron Francis, and you'll find that devotional will be encouraging as it focuses on the rock-solid foundation that we can have in Jesus Christ. Hope you'll take time to read that and be encouraged in that way as well. It's been great to be with you this morning. I look forward to joining you again tomorrow. I hope that you'll have a great day. God bless.